He didn't die from a curse, or a trap, or a lack of air. The official report stated that Dr. Robert Langford, a world-renowned archaeologist, was found at the bottom of a shaft he had no business being in, and the autopsy revealed he had chewed through his own ropes to get there. In the summer of 1991, a team of brilliant archaeologists, led by the esteemed Dr. Langford, entered a previously sealed chamber in a lesser-known pyramid near Saqqara. They were at the peak of their careers, armed with the latest technology, and they were about to make the discovery of a lifetime. But they were searching for a tomb, and they found something else entirely, something that was still awake. Stick around until the end, because what the sole survivor described as final, coherent moments, it redefines what we think we know about these ancient structures. To understand the horror, you have to understand the people. Dr. Robert Langford was a legend. He dedicated his life to Egyptology, but he was no treasure hunter. He was a scientist, a man of logic and reason. His team was the best of the best. Maria Rossi could read the Strait of Stone like a book. David Chun could make a ground-penetrating radar sing. And Sam, the intern, was there to document everything, his enthusiasm barely contained. Their target wasn't the Great Pyramid. It was a smaller, enigmatic structure known to locals as Qabaset al-Hajar, the Whispering Stone. It was largely ignored by mainstream Egyptology, considered a minor, failed construction. But Langford's research suggested otherwise. He believed it was a prototype, a testing ground for architectural and spiritual concepts that were later abandoned or perfected elsewhere. The mood was one of pure academic excitement. After weeks of careful excavation, they located a hidden entrance, a perfectly cut stone that swung inward with a groan that had been waiting 4,500 years to be heard. The air that escaped wasn't stale, it was cold, and it carried a faint, dry scent, like ancient papyrus and dust. David joked, "Hope we didn't wake the neighbors." Sam laughed, his voice echoing into the darkness. Maria just noted the unusual temperature drop in her log. They were professionals. They were prepared for anything, or so they thought. The first few days were uneventful. They mapped antechambers, found hieroglyphs that were unlike any they'd seen, more angular, almost aggressive. There were no depictions of gods they recognized. No Osiris, no Anubis. Instead, there were repetitive images of a bound, faceless figure and symbols that resembled locked doors. Then, the whispers started. At first, they all assumed it was the wind or water moving through some hidden aqueduct. But the whispers had a pattern, a rhythm. Sam was the first to admit he heard them, thinking it was his colleagues in another chamber. But they were all together. Then, the equipment began to fail. Batteries, brand new and fully charged, would be drained in minutes. David's digital recordings would be filled with static, except for one clear, recurring sound, a slow, rhythmic dragging, like something heavy being pulled across stone. The air grew cold, a damp, clinging cold that smelled of wet earth and something metallic like old blood. Maria started getting migraines, complaining of a constant, high-pitched ringing in her ears. David became irritable, paranoid, accusing the others of moving his equipment as a prank. Only Dr. Langford seemed different. He became withdrawn, spending hours staring at the strange hieroglyphs, tracing them with his fingers. One night, Sam was on watch. He saw a figure standing at the end of the main corridor, silhouetted against the darkness. It was tall, impossibly thin. He called out, "Dr. Langford?" The figure didn't move. But what Sam noticed next made his blood run cold. The shape of its head was wrong, elongated, stretched. It took a step forward, not with a footfall, but with that same sickening dragging sound from the recordings. Sam turned his headlamp towards it, and the light died. When his backup lamp flickered on a second later, the corridor was empty. The next morning, A frantic David managed to get a weak satellite link. He sent a data burst to a colleague at Cairo University containing images of the hieroglyphs. The reply came back hours later, and it changed everything. The message read, "Robert, these symbols are not Egyptian. They are not from any known language. The closest analogs we have are from fragmented Mesopotamian curse tablets, specifically those related to the binding and imprisonment of Ekimu, a type of vengeful, earthbound spirit. The prevailing theory on this structure is wrong. This isn't a tomb for a king. This is a prison." Panic set in. They decided to pack up and leave immediately. But as they gathered their course samples and notes, they realized Dr. Langford was gone. They heard his voice, calm and measured, calling from deep within the pyramid. He was reciting something, repeating the same phrase over and over in a language that was not his own. They followed the sound, their own fear a living thing in their throats. It led them to a vertical shaft they had previously marked as structurally unsound. It dropped away into perfect blackness, and there he was, Dr. Langford, standing at the very edge. But he wasn't alone. Behind him, shifting in and out of the shadows cast by their trembling lights, was the tall, thin figure. It had no face, just a smooth, elongated expanse where features should be. And it had one long, withered arm wrapped around Langford's chest, not in an embrace, but in a possession. Langford turned to them, and his eyes were vacant, black pools. He spoke, but the voice that came out was a dry, multi-layered rasp, the sound of stones grinding together. "It's time to change the guard," it said. Then it stepped back, pulling Langford with it, and they both vanished into the abyss. Maria, David, and Sam ran. They didn't look back. They burst out into the blinding desert sun, collapsing on the sand. They were found hours later by a local guide, dehydrated and in a state of sheer, mind-shattering terror. When a recovery team went back in, they found Dr. Langford's body at the bottom of the shaft. The ropes he had used to climb down were frayed, not broken, but gnawed through, with human teeth marks embedded in the fibers. The official inquest ruled it a tragic accident, compounded by cave syndrome and shared psychosis. The pyramid was sealed once more. Maria and David left archaeology forever. Sam checked himself into a psychiatric facility 6 months later. He told his doctors one thing, over and over, before he succumbed to his catatonia. It wasn't a prison for the dead. It was a cage, and we opened the door. So, the question remains, was it mass hysteria, a shared delusion born of isolation and suggestion? Or did Dr. Langford's team stumble upon something ancient and malevolent, a sentience that was never meant to be disturbed, a resident of a prison that had finally found a way out? What do you think was waiting for them in that darkness? And more terrifyingly, where is it now? This story lives and dies with your theories. Let me know in the comments. What's your take? Was this a psychological break? Or did they truly awaken an ancient, imprisoned entity? I read every single one. If your curiosity is now a fully fledged fear and you want more stories that will make you question the shadows in your own home, make sure you subscribe AI Storytelling White Yes and hit that notification bell. We uncover a new video weekly. Thanks for watching.